have a question for you. When somebody meets you for the first time, what do you want them to say to you? Nice to meet you. That's a really good answer. How would you describe your family?
How would we describe you guys? We are full of fun and full of adventure, and we happen to have modifications because of special needs.
What is their diagnosis?
Their diagnosis is an extremely rare disease called Cockayne syndrome, which entails a DNA repair issue that causes rapid aging among many other things within their body system.
You said that Cockayne syndrome is a rapid aging disease. What is rapidly aging?
Everything. So essentially, because of the DNA repair issue, there's a protein issue. The cells, instead of repairing themselves, they just die. And so as the cells die, the body just begins to age because of that. Cockayne syndrome is an extremely rare, rapid aging terminal disease. It is roughly 2 per million in the US and Europe that are diagnosed. There's probably more, but it's a DNA repair issue where the protein is unable to repair the cells and then they start to die off. And so there's really no timeline for why or how these cells start to die off and what that looks like, but their whole body is affected. So they have what they consider brain atrophy. They have brain changes that happen. They have eye changes that happen. Lucas has gone deaf and wears cochlear implants. Lara wears hearing aids. Their chewing and swallowing can get affected. Then their muscles and their nerves, the spinal nerves start to break down. And so they start to get contractures of either their legs, their feet, their shoulders, even their hips. And so we try really hard to make sure that they have good posture, because once the head starts to go down, then their swallowing starts to become affected and can cause just extra drama with potential aspirations and pneumonias and all of those types of things.
Lara, how old are you?
How old are
How old are
you?
you, Bean?
14.
Yeah, you are 14.
Should I ask Lucas directly how old he is?
You can. Do you want me to get his talker?
Sure.
I don't know if he'll use it, but we can try.
Does he sometimes use it and sometimes
Yeah, he's not independent with it, but he might answer your question because that's one of his ABA questions.
I would love to try.
Yeah, okay.
And if not, no big deal.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, Mr. Chris is going to ask you a question. All right? Are his glasses centered? Yeah, okay.
Lucas, how old are you?
Here, can I have this for a minute? Here.
How old are you, Lucas?
How old are you?
I am 16.
Yeah, you are 16.
Thank you, Lucas.
So Lucas used to be extremely social. He's always given really great hugs. Even a couple years back, Santa declared it his best hug he had ever received. And now, over the last 4 years or so, Lucas has become more of an observer. He still really likes to go out and engage with other people, but he doesn't seek the people out. He'll look at people, but that's it now. So he's much more of a quiet observer than he is with being an active, like engaging kiddo. We go! Whoa! Nice job!
You said that Lucas still likes when people interact with him. How can you tell?
I can tell because he leaves his cochlears on. That's a big indicator. And he will make eye contact with people. And so when he is listening and an active like participant in the the interaction, if you would, I can tell that he enjoys just being, being spoken to and being talked to, right, pal?
Hey, Lucas. My name is Chris, and I came here to hang out with you and be your friend and learn a bit about you. If somebody wants to be Lucas's friend, what should they do first?
I think just make good eye contact and respect him as a teenager. Right, Lucas?
Well, I'm really happy we get to spend time together today, Lucas. I'm having a blast with you and your family. What is Lucas's role within the family?
I think Lucas, he's I joke that he's the easiest one, but he's the highest acuity. And so, Lucas's role is definitely the trailblazer, right, pal?
What is it like having Lucas be a little bit older than Lara and seeing him start to regress while she still has a lot of her abilities?
So, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because sometimes you can't stop Cockayne syndrome. But you try to manage the symptoms as much as you can. And so because of having 2 kids, Lucas is almost like her guide and our guide. And so he's basically like, he's paved the way for her.
Tell me all about Lara.
What do you want to say about you? Lara, she is sweet and spicy, all mixed into the same small little being.
How do you feel when you make a new friend? Oh, thank you. That's really sweet of you. I'm really happy that we're friends now. High five. Do you like making new friends?
Yeah, right?
How do you feel when you make a new friend?
Happy.
Yeah.
What do you like to do with new friends?
What do you like to do with new friends?
Um,
What do you like to do with new friends?
Look at the wake up.
What does she say?
She just says she wants Lucas to wake up. That's what she's saying. So when you make a new friend at school, it makes you happy, but what do you do? How does somebody become your friend? What do they say to you?
Very kind.
They're kind. And what else are they? Do they smile at you?
I'm eating pizza.
Oh my goodness. Do you think that they might like pizza too? Is that what you talk about with your friends? It's pizza?
I like pizza. Do you like pizza?
Crazy hair.
I have crazy hair. What about now? What's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Are there any toppings you like on your pizza?
Yeah.
What toppings?
Cheese.
Ooh, cheese is delicious.
Do you have a pizza?
I do have a favorite type of pizza. Would you like me to tell you, or do you want to guess?
Guess.
Do you want to guess, or do you want me to guess?
Guess.
Okay, I'll tell you. My favorite type of pizza is pepperoni pizza. What do you think? Are you unimpressed with my favorite pizza? Pepperoni pizza's pretty cool. Come on, let's give a round of applause for pepperoni pizza. Yeah! There we go. I'm asking you a lot of questions. Do you have any questions for me? What would you like to ask me?
Do you have a puppy?
That's a really good question. Yes, I do have a puppy. Her name is Gizmo.
May I see that?
You want to see Gizmo? Okay, stay right here and I'll go get my phone so I can show you a picture of Gizmo.
Good.
You're gonna love Gizmo, she's really cute.
Two.
Does Cockayne syndrome impact Lara and Lucas in different ways?
For sure. So even though they have the same genetic ERCC6 mutations, because you need to have 2 mutations to actually have the symptoms of CS in that gene, everything else seems to be different. Lucas is definitely aging more in the typical fashion within the disease, and Lara's just continuing to climb and achieve more and more goals as she gets older, which is really, it's beautiful to see. Even people in the community say, we want our kids to look like Lara, and I'm like, I want Lucas to look like Lara.
What is it like to see both sides of that coin every day?
I think because we try to focus on the here and now, sometimes you don't really see the changes until you look back at photos or videos of where Lucas was even just 2 years ago. And so it can be depressing if you let it, but we try to live more in the light, just because they're here. Let's enjoy them, not grieve where they were versus where they are now. Seeing the two of them, it's a blessing, but it's also hard. Because there have been kids and our friends that have died. Lots of them, actually. And so we know what our future will be like. We just don't know when. And so we try to not focus on that, because it's just not a healthy place to live. And there's enough anticipatory grief, if you would, and so just trying to again live in the light and try to live in the moment and soak up what we have while we have it.
Here's Gizmo. What?
Cute.
Cute? Here, I'll zoom in. There she is.
Freaker.
Do you think she's cute?
Yeah.
Do you think she's a little cute or really cute?
Really big a puppy. Yeah.
She is a really big puppy and really cute. High five. Boom. Were they diagnosed at the same time?
Yeah, January 22nd of 2015. Lucas was 6 and Lara was 4. Right? That was 10 years ago, January of this year.
How long before that did you know something was going on? You just couldn't find the answer.
So Lucas was a traumatic delivery. He had to be resuscitated at birth. And so I thought all along that Lucas had cerebral palsy. Then when Lara was born, she did not have that same delivery, but she was really small for quite some time.
Is she always this sweet?
Always. She loves her Tootsie. Tootsie's like, I'm getting in on this.
Does she love the dog?
She absolutely loves the dog. And the dog loves her too.
So her delivery was smooth?
Her delivery was smooth. She just, when she was about 6 months old, she went on like a bottle strike, and she was really small for a very long time. Like newborn clothes for about 3 months, which is really not typical. And so when she was about 9 months old was when I took her to Lucas's therapist and said, like, I feel like she's really floppy. She should be doing something else. She was like, Amy, she's super floppy. By that point, Lucas was almost 3. And so we had started doing some testing to confirm cerebral palsy. And when we did that MRI, it showed a lot of other things with no anoxic injuries in his brain. And so that's what started us down the road of trying to tease out what was going on. and all the while she was starting to not hit milestones and was starting to really slow down on her growth.
Do you go to school?
Yes.
What do you like to do at school?
I'm walking in the car.
You're working in the class?
Yeah.
What type of things do you learn?
I'm riding a bike now.
You want to ride the bike right now? Do you love riding your bike? Tell me about how Cockayne syndrome impacts Lara.
So for Lara, for one, she has this very small stature. So she's 14, but she's about the size of a 5-year-old. She has learning disabilities, but she's still making a lot of gains. She has hearing loss. She needs her glasses. She's still able to walk. She just uses a walker. Her balance when she's not using the walker is a little bit wobbly, but you know, we know how to gauge that. Her language is a little, well, is you know, for 14 is very delayed, but she's still able to get her point across, especially to the familiar listener, and you know, is still full sass sometimes.
Timmy.
Full sass sometimes.
I'm eating pizza.
With a one-track mind about pizza.
I'm eating pizza.
Explain to me the genetics of how Cockayne syndrome works.
Oh, sure. So, so Cockayne syndrome, there is a 25% chance per pregnancy when you have 2 affected adults that are carriers. And so my husband and I both have separate mutations on our ERCC6 gene that we unknowingly have. And so there's 25% chance per pregnancy that you have an affected child with Cockayne syndrome. There's a 25% chance that you have a completely unaffected, non-carrier child with that's not affected at all. And then there's a 50% chance that the child will be a carrier, so unaffected but have one of the 2 mutations. And so I just joke and say that we hit the genetic lottery with Lara and Lucas because, you know, both pregnancies straight, you know, never had kids before, and we had no idea that we had these 2 mutations, one on my gene and one on Cliff's gene.
What was it like to learn you were both carriers?
I mean, I think at first when you find out that, like, your genes helped create this disease, it's not something that you just swallow. So I think at first you go through a grieving that you did this to your kid. I would say that for probably the first 3 months after they were diagnosed, I was in a very much like, why me, why my kids? But I tried, one of the things that a dear friend had said to me was, that my soul accepted this journey before I was here, and that their souls accepted this journey before they were here. And that was quite profound for me because that just lifted the weight of that we did something wrong, that we that this was a punishment, which I knew in my mind, I knew that was not the case at all. But as a mom, it's hard to swallow that acceptance. In the end, I don't know if gift is the right word to use, but you learn to just navigate the world a little bit differently because of the cards that we've been dealt. And so we try to have fun in every moment. We try to highlight living life together and making memories together while we can, and to not focus too much on the future because we might miss out on today. And so I think it gave us a perspective that not everybody is familiar with, because we live in the moment and try to really soak up the time that we have together, no matter what that time looks like.
What are some of the activities you all do together to get the most out of life?
Oh, bless you, Bean. Well, we play around a lot. I mean, we have a lot of fun. We do things like hide and seek, or sometimes we actually do play some board games here and there. But we play hide and seek around the house. We'll just, as you may have already seen, we like to scare each other, or we'll go to even just going to a farm and looking at animals. Is a fun time. You like going to see the animals there, the horse. You like to see some cows. So we have a lot of farms in this area. So we like to go there a lot. Even just things just like simple. I mean, we almost always eat dinner together, and even simple things like that. I mean, we have a good time just being together, really.
How old are you, Layden?
7.
What's it like being 7 years old?
That sums it all up.
That's it.
What's your favorite thing to do with Lucas? Do you tickle your brother a lot, Lara?
Yeah. Oh, you're so easy. I'm in pool right now.
Did you take any precautions with Layton to make sure that he was a healthy baby?
We did do a CVS after I found out that I was pregnant.
What is CVS?
I don't remember.
What does it tell you?
I want to say it's choriovilus sampling. So it just does genetic testing of the embryo or of the fetus while you're pregnant. And so I had that testing done when I was 12 weeks pregnant. And we found out when I was 16 weeks that Layton was just a carrier. So he should develop like my husband and I. He has my mutation. So so it's good for him to know if and when he ever decides he wants to have children, that his partner can have testing of their ERCC6 gene to see if that's something that they also are a carrier, and then they'll, if they choose to have children or do whatever route, which is up to them.
What are you most proud of Lara and Lucas for?
I'm most proud, Lara and Lucas, for I think just the way they've overcome what they've been dealt. I mean, if I weren't living this, I think I would look at this situation and say, "Wow, that's the worst. It really doesn't get any worse than that." Or this, how can you go through life? But I mean, I don't know. I think now that I'm smack in the middle of this, bless you, Larry. Being smack in the middle of this, I mean, I see how they really have done a lot to just they do great with what they have. They really do get a lot of joy out of life, and they have the limitations, but they've done a great job in just kind of looking past all that and really living each day the most. And oh, I thought I met your dog too. But they're able to look past what they have and just really get a lot out of life.
I've noticed that Lucas makes really good eye contact. He'll look at me pretty intensely. Thank you for doing that, Lucas. As he's kind of lost some forms of communication, is that one that he has retained, and that's why he does it so often?
I think so. And I think he also will read somebody to see if they're respecting him as a person and if they maintain that eye contact with him. And if they're comfortable with him, then I think he becomes more comfortable with them.
You mentioned maintaining that eye contact as a form of respect. What are some other ways I can show respect to Lucas?
I don't know. I think Lucas he's a pretty chill kid. I think just really the eye contact, respecting, like if he knocks his ears off, that we pay attention, even though I as mom always will put them back on because I want him to have access. And even though he decided he wants to shut off the world, it's not always okay to shut off the world. But also knowing when to push and when to pull back.
Or maybe that's him indicating to me that there's something about my communication he doesn't like. Is the fact that he hasn't knocked them off yet a positive sign?
Definitely. Definitely.
How often does he knock them off?
I mean, it depends. Like before, he was knocking them off constantly. But if he's content and he's not under any demand, and I feel like he's physically comfortable, then he's actually been leaving them on for pretty long amounts of time throughout the day.
Well, thank you for leaving them on with me. I'm content with you as well.
Lucas, you want to give him a high five? Give him a high five? Put it up. Here, can you give him a high five? Can you give Chris a high five? Yeah.
Thank you, Lucas. I appreciate the high five. That was really nice of you.
You're going to talk to him too?
What advice would you have for a dad who just found out their child is diagnosed with Cockayne syndrome or something similar?
Well, I mean, for a newly diagnosed dad, as I do, even though it was 10 years ago, I still remember it very well. I mean, at that moment in time, it felt like probably the end of the world. I mean, you have kind of a dream of how life should be. You think, oh, you have this picture of what it's going to be like with your kids growing up, and then that dream in that moment is kind of shattered, but then you really realize that you can build new dreams, and really it doesn't have to be the end, because there's a lot that you can get out of life, and really a diagnosis like that does not mean life is going to be bad. You can really have a great life, and you have to look at, getting the most out of each day, really just making an effort to plan things, to look at what the kids can do. They can't, they obviously can't do some things that typical kids can, but there's other things that they enjoy, and you look for those opportunities, and really you can really have a wonderful life, because every day with these kids, it's really special. And even though it was a terrible diagnosis, it really hasn't felt terrible, because I just loved every day being with them.
When somebody hears your family story, what thoughts do you hope they have?
I hope that they are inspired to live life and have fun. I hope that they see the joy in every day, to see kids that are just being kids, having fun and enjoying life, and that they see the love that we have for each other.